Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 490 of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. There's a lot to look forward to coming up, including Luminous, the Symphony of Us, which is going to start at Epcot on December 5th. There's also the Disney Dining Plan returning to Disney packages, Walt Disney World packages on January 9th. And the Disneyland Hotel reopening at Disneyland Paris on January 25th, which I'm really looking forward to. So much to check out MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. There's so much to see and do around the Walt Disney
the world of
Walt
Disney.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. So, but check them out. Head to their website for a no obligation quote.
So we're going to start off our show today back at Epcot. It had been at least a month.
It's been a while.
A month since we had been to Epcot, and we were very happy to be back. It was an absolutely beautiful fall day here in Florida.
And now we've been back twice.
We have, yes.
For
mainly for
samosas and chicken tikka masala.
Yes. But first, when we did go back, we went to meet Figment because we had missed all the excitement. There were long hours, multiple hour lines for Figment. So when
not this time.
No. And I'm saying when he first appeared,
right,
while we were away, we were traveling.
We were in Anaheim when he debuted during the D23 time frame, and so now we wanted to go meet him. 10-minute wait for us.
And look at this. It's the Dreamport. Anybody who had been to Epcot back in the old days will know all about the Dreamport. And here comes Figment. Figment looks wonderful. He looks like a giant version of his attraction self, the classic attraction self, actually.
But you met him as what they called
Figzilla. I had, yes.
And I went to look at pictures of Figzilla because I did not meet him at that time.
But we both met him back in the 80s with Dreamfinder.
No, I never did.
You never met him?
I never did.
No,
Surprisingly,
I've multiple times.
No.
My family and I used to love to meet Figment and Dreamfinder.
I've told you that I've never met Figment. So this was really cool, and he looks a little bit like how you met him as Figzilla, but not exactly.
As I said, he's more like a giant version of the animatronic. His face, his whole mannerism. He's a very different meet and greet than Figzilla was. Figzilla didn't have the character as Figment does, as he does now.
I was surprised that it was as short as wait as it was. I mentioned about 10 minutes, and that includes he left and came back like a couple minutes later. So there was a line, but it wasn't bad. And this was about an hour after the park opened. The park opened at like 9, and this was around 10 o'clock.
It was actually quite an emotional experience. It was so nice to see him again. I have so many good memories of Figment over the years and all his different incarnations. So it was very special. I'm glad. I'm so glad. That was the first thing that I wanted to do at Epcot. So it was wonderful. And there he goes. He's heading back into the Dreamport.
Both ways, he gave you a lot of time on the camera.
He knew I appreciated him.
I had my camera out, and he didn't stop.
Well, you were in line. I was
just
standing. I guess I was kind of very obvious. But again, it was wonderful. I thoroughly enjoyed meeting Figment. We're going to look at some of his area there. There's some interesting, I wouldn't say props, but displays. You're going to see some displays. This is actual footage from the original attraction that would play on screens in the original attraction. So very nice to see it come back here.
It looks good too.
It looks great. And I think this was most recently shown in, I guess it was the Festival of the Arts.
Right,
remember?
But not as good. It didn't look as good there, I don't think.
It looks fantastic.
So,
here.
But I really enjoyed the original attraction. I would love to see them overhaul this, now that we have Moana, Journey of Water, inspired by Moana, which I really enjoy. It feels very much like ImageWorks. It would be nice to see ImageWorks and everything redone.
And we should mention that they also are handing out autograph cards. Figment is not able to sign, but you can get an autograph card. I think it's for the kids mainly, but you asked and she gave you one each for us.
And I don't know if it's mostly for kids, but I don't. It's good to ask if they don't hand it to you.
And I saw, and here are our PhotoPass pictures. So while we were there, we also decided we wanted to meet Mickey. Now, it wasn't just Mickey. It was Mickey and Minnie in their Disney100 outfits. This was another new meet and greet that happened while we were away in Anaheim.
Right. And so, I mean, with that sign, you know that you're at least going to get Mickey. You wouldn't get just Minnie because it says to meet Mickey. But you have Mickey and Minnie here. We waited also about 10 to 12 minutes just after we went to see Figment. Really, a very, compared to Disneyland Paris.
And we'll talk about that later, but I have friends, good friends, who waited hours, like 3.5 hours to meet just Mickey
or Pluto
in their Disney100 outfit. So, you know, for us to be able to kind of breeze in and meet them at Epcot was fantastic.
It was, and this was such a beautiful day too. I was going to say it's air conditioned inside, but it was air conditioned outside too. But it was really fun to see them. We first saw them in January.
At Disneyland.
Right.
We were there for the kickoff of the Disneyland part of the Disney100 celebration.
And that was the main place for Disney100. I believe Mickey and Minnie are supposed to be here for the remainder of the year, is what I read in the press release. So really a nice meet and greet here.
Very nice. And again, they had Photo Pass, and I'm going to show our pictures with Mickey and Minnie. But yeah, it was very nice to not have to wait that big long wait to meet them. It was just a delightful day, and here are our pictures with Mickey and Minnie. And we've met all the characters that appear at this point in their Disney100 outfits. If you go back to Anaheim,
right? And there are quite a few who were in Anaheim. It would be nice to see more of them here as well, but I don't know if we will.
Now, also they had, this is new to us again. We were traveling. We've been traveling for about a month, so it was very nice to see. This is another Photo Pass, some Photo Pass pictures.
Eco-friendly balloons, because
yes.
they're not real.
So after Epcot, we went over to Disney's Fort Wilderness, and we decided to have the family meal at Trails End Restaurant.
Well, there's a couple different meals that we could have gotten, the more expensive meals. We got the fried chicken and the half slab. You get 4 pieces of chicken and a half slab of ribs, because instead of just the 8 piece of chicken.
Inside, and look at that, a whole loaf of cornbread there, nice, generous sides, big pieces of chicken. How many meals did we end up with?
A total of 5, because you had one on the last day, so we each had it for 2 days. But I just want to mention, we're going to look at Halloween decorations. So if you're not interested in food, although I love the food here, like, I'm really glad that we went. It was a beautiful day, great food, and Halloween.
And I had mentioned the generous sides. Here we are. We have mashed potatoes with gravy and coleslaw. And delicious.
I love the mashed potatoes there. It's $28.99 for this, and you can get a smaller meal as well.
For a one-person type meal, they
Correct.
Call it the Lone Rider.
I don't even know if they call it the Lone Rider anymore.
I'm not quite sure either. And they also have these Halloween treats, which we didn't have because we were full from all that food. But there was a bit of an interest in one of them. I think we're going to look at it now. The cornbread cupcake.
And I thought about it for a second, but first of all, we don't buy a lot of cupcakes, but also we just had cornbread. So it was a lot of cornbread. So next time, maybe on Halloween, we will do that.
And speaking of Halloween, the main reason we were at Disney's Fort Wilderness is we wanted to walk around the campsites and take a look at any kind of Halloween decorations that were already displayed. We saw a lot, and I'm just going to kind of show one of my favorite ones here. This is quite the elaborate, and it's a mixture. It's kind of a Disney and Halloween theme all in one.
I mean, it's very much, that. And I just want to mention also, Jeff said we saw a lot of sites. It's pretty early still. So there's going to be more and more sites that will be decorated.
Oh, every day there's more. I see it online. I mean, by the time Halloween comes, it should be spectacular.
And so as you're looking, it looks like the person has 2 sites, because it looks like it
almost looks like one site is just for decorations and the other site is for the actual camping.
And decorations.
So
it looks like they probably have 2 sites.
And there's chalk left out here in this coffin, so you can take some chalk, and I guess other campers have been kind of added their Halloween displays to the ground here.
And
Very nice.
I've seen quite a bit while we were walking around. I've never seen chalk out like we saw this time. There was a lot of it. Yeah.
And now we're going to take a kind of a look at some of the highlights of some of the other sites that we saw with more of a Disney theme. A lot of inflatables as usual here.
And there's a lot of like Jack and Sally, and then Mickey and Minnie.
Harvest. I like the Harvest. Always like that kind of display.
And then you've got Oogie Boogie.
Oswald.
Yes, and Oswald, which we only saw the one Oswald. So that was really cool to see him out. And we've got the caretaker from the Haunted Mansion, along with Madame Leota and Brother Dave. And then that's that giant
like
Jack
13
foot
it looks
Jack Skellington.
Amazing in person, like very, very cool. I mean, we don't have room for it, obviously, but it would be nice to have a giant Jack Skellington in the
house. Well, or in the house, if we had a house that big. So more Oogie Boogies and more Jack Skellingtons, a lot of both.
And now we are moving on to Disneyland Paris. We're looking at some official footage here. This was the Disney100 day. On the actual day, the 16th of October, Disneyland Paris had a special day to celebrate the 100 years of the Walt Disney Company's formation.
And right now we're looking at official B-roll, right?
I had said that, yes.
Sorry. So we're not only going to be looking at official, though. Roni has some footage as well.
We're going to look at some footage from our good friend Roni from DLP Alicious, but we're starting off with this B-roll footage. This was the early morning celebration. So in the morning, they had 100 characters come out. They also had a speech. And what I find interesting is the music that was played is Remember the Magic. It's time to remember the magic. And that was from the 25th anniversary here at Walt Disney World.
And I love hearing Remember the Magic. Disneyland Paris has so much of its own amazing music, some of the best music of any of the Disney parks. But to hear Remember the Magic, which I think is in my top, certainly my top 5 of all time Disney park songs, was really cool.
Plus, we lived it. I mean, I spent so much time back in 96, 97 at Walt Disney World for the 25th anniversary. You had the Cakesel, which was the pink birthday cake there, 25 years of Disney magic. I love the music and the parade they had there. So it was really, really special to see it used here. Now, we talked to a number of our friends that attended this day, and we had some mixed results. Some friends had a great time. It was just what they expected. Other friends were disappointed because it was very crowded, and also some of the organization was lacking. Especially, we're going to show later on during the character selfie spots and meet and greets and things like that. But everybody enjoyed this part. This part was a winner for everyone I talked to.
Right. And I mean, it's incredible to get to see 100 characters coming out of Sleeping Beauty Castle. We missed it by about a week. We were in town for we've got the ambassadors, Carmen and Quentin. So for 3 weeks we were in Disneyland Paris, and it was a week later that they did this, but it wasn't announced ahead of time. They did say something would happen on the 16th, but we didn't know what.
We didn't know what the something was. Now, by way of comparison, when we were there for the 25th anniversary of Disneyland Paris, they had 200 characters.
Was it 200?
It was 200.
There was a lot of
So this
characters.
Is only half.
Are you sure it's 200?
I did my research.
Wow.
So this, as far as my research showed, it was 200 that day. This was 100. So double this with a lot of rare characters. That was a day. That was certainly a spectacular day back for the 25th anniversary.
And also Fan Days was amazing. So Disneyland Paris is very well known for having a lot of characters out. You know, the only character I think that had not been out at Disneyland Paris previously was Mirabelle.
Yeah, you're about to see Mirabelle also in this footage. I look at that. You even have Maleficent there. I mean, some of these characters are rare. They don't come out very often, but they've all appeared at one time or another, except, as you said, Mirabelle.
And I will say our Disneyland Paris friends are very jaded because, because they get so many times where you get good characters again. Fan Days, you had the Disney Loves Jazz event. So, you got
Kristoff here. You don't normally see. Well, I guess you do. He's in the parade every day. That's right.
And Anna and Elsa. And you've got Disney volunteers here who were part of the celebration. And I love that Disneyland Paris often will bring in the cast to help celebrate things.
So after the welcome, the celebration in the morning, later on in the day, you had a pre-parade with the Disney 100 characters. Now, everyone I talked to found this kind of to be a disappointment. This is a float that was sort of repainted and repurposed from Dream and Shine Brighter.
And you couldn't really see Mickey and Minnie too much.
Unfortunately, if you were on the right-hand side, and there was no way to know before this, but if you're on the right-hand side, you're really not seeing the character, especially Mickey and Minnie, that well, because you can't really see through it. I guess when they painted it, in the old parade, you could see through it a lot better.
It was
than
opaque,
you can now.
So you could see the characters fully, although, like here you can't, so Minnie has to probably go on tippy toes here to to wave to everyone.
And now we're looking at the first session of it was like a selfie spot, but you only had 4 characters and you had hundreds and hundreds of guests all at the same time wanting to get a selfie with either Donald or Daisy, and I think it was tick-a-tack for the other 2, I believe.
So
yes, here they are, tick-a-tack.
So did Chip and Dale? Yes, and
I said it right finally,
yes,
after years.
And here, this must be at the studios.
This is at the studios. So my friend Aroni from DLP Licious waited over 3.5 hours. And you don't know who you're going to get, by the way. At one point, it was just Pluto, and people were very upset. That was quickly rectified.
Because they were waiting for, like, Mickey and Minnie.
Right, because they had, well, I think it started with Mickey and Minnie, and then it kind of alternated. They had Pluto. Things didn't work out so much when it was just Pluto.
So they made sure to have 2 characters each, even if it wasn't... Yes. Right, so at least you got to... if you were waiting 3 hours, you were getting 2 characters at some point.
Right, and I think Roni ended up meeting Mickey and Pluto, but
that's
again,
not bad.
It wasn't bad, but it was quite
a lot. That's a lot. I have never waited. I've waited a long time for Jack and Sally.
Multiple times we had. There's Roni's picture, and they had another session, a selfie session at night back at Disneyland Paris Park on the castle stage, and you had Donald and Daisy.
So they weren't in a meet and greet. You just kind of stood there and took selfies.
Right, correct.
Unlike Walt Disney Studios Park.
And later on at night, there was a thing called the Constellation Celebration at both parks.
After Disney Dreams and after Avengers Power of the Night. And when you hear the word constellation, you think you're going to have drones, but there were no drones, and that was something that was disappointing for everybody.
And now we're going to look at something that happened very early in the morning before any of this. This was the special Inside Ears. We had been included in this, but we had our good friend Roni, who's in the picture cover for us.
Yes.
And this would have been awesome to get a picture, as part of the 100 bright and early at Disneyland Paris.
That would have been my favorite thing, to be there early, to be in the picture with everyone, see everybody. So that is the one thing that I'm a little disappointed to miss. Yeah,
that's right. So happy 100 year to the Walt Disney Company. Hey, you know what? At least Disneyland Paris did a very nice day.
Yes.
There was not really anything going on at Disneyland or at Walt Disney World.
Correct.
So now we're going to talk about the Silver Spur Steakhouse. We dined there. They have a little bit of an addition to the menu change. We're going to talk about that.
Right. Some items taken away, some items added. I ended up getting... Oh, well, we're just going to look around first. It's, it's supposed to be an upscale.
What's the first thing you experience when you walk into the Silver Spur?
The smell.
The smell. It smells so delicious. I wish there was a way to convey just how good it smells in there, because they actually do the steak right there, right out there in the open, and all the smoke really sets the stage, so to speak.
And I like coming in here for first thing. I like to be on that reservation for the first seating. You get a good seat, and I just think that's really nice. So anyway, here is the menu. So like their main course is now they have a flame grilled Scotch sirloin steak, which is what I got. I think it used to be a flank steak. Very similar tasting.
And I had the flame grilled steak
skewers. And
We're going to look
new.
at that. This was some special drinks for Halloween. I did get the beer down at the bottom, but you also could have had this blood orange full moon drink, or a midnight delight. And I had the Mira Beer Halloween edition.
And you like that one?
It was excellent. I would... And I even said we tried to find where it was in case I could buy some locally, but it was not to be found anywhere.
No, I looked up the brewery. The brewery is just not close to Paris. It is possible that maybe it's in someplace else around Paris.
But we didn't see any for sale at the Ocean or anything.
No,
like that.
I didn't see it there. So you ended up ordering the silver salad, I believe, with chicken. Is that what you said you had?
That is it. It was very filling. I much prefer this over the sampler. What is it called? The cowboy platter that they've had in the past.
I didn't think it was
gives you
that
like
good.
one onion ring, one little chicken thing. So this was actually more of a real appetizer. I would get this from now on. It was quite good. Did you try any of this?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So you tried the bread and the burr.
The burr, yes. I like having my Disney butter. So the price is right now €35 for a starter and main, or a main and dessert, or 45 euros for a starter, main, and dessert, and we get 15% off with our annual pass.
And you just saw that steak cooking on all that nice smoke. Here is the skewer. And there was a picture that you showed me of the official picture of this dish with a giant piece of corn. And the reality is you're about to see that is the real size corn.
It is the smallest piece of corn. And we had it in March as well. You know, we've had it before. I mean, maybe there's 4 rows. I was thinking it was 3 rows. But it's just like the tiniest little wheel of corn.
And it shows like this big piece of corn in the official
It's like,
picture.
haha, that's funny. You know, but they shouldn't show something that isn't real.
And you just saw 2 different versions of Bullseye Barbecue. Nice accompaniment they always have for our steaks.
But I never use it. I like just to have my steak
like to
as
have
is.
a little bit.
But I would say it was probably just a little overcooked, but not bad. And I actually like the taste of the steak here. You know, I would have liked if Disneyland Paris reduced their menus just as a lot of the parks did. So you don't get like a high-end steak. You get, you know, a sirloin steak.
Or the skewer. I mean, you used to get a fillet.
You could get a fillet,
Right.
but you could get this as well. So anyway, now we're looking at dessert. And this is, I believe this is the Cowboy's Treat with vanilla sundae with brownie and caramel sauce, which was very good. I ate more of your dessert.
And I ate more of yours because this was very unique. This was, you know, with a popcorn flavor. Also has that whole Woody theme from Toy Story.
Woody Sweet Sensation, popcorn flavored cream puffs. And the whipped cream actually was popcorn flavored as well.
It was very unique. It was kind of like a donut, really, with peanut flavor.
Well, popcorn, very popcorn, not peanut,
yes.
not peanut, but popcorn flavor. So I thought it was good, but I liked the ice cream better.
Oh, overall, it was a very good experience. I would go back. I would
We'll
absolutely
go back in January. We'll probably go back.
As we walked out, by the way, we saw Jack and Sally out here, and they were kind of waving to guests as they were leaving. That was something we had not seen. And as we watched that, I just kind of sum it up. We also dined at the Bistro Chez Remy. And I would say my steak I had there was a cut above, just a little bit above for me, than the steak here. But they're very different. The flavor, everything was different, but I just thought the cut was a little bit better.
To me, they're kind of similar, you know, but again, like Bistro Chez Remy used to have a more expansive menu as well. So it's more of a, you know, they just make so many of that same type of steak.
Right.
And to me, it's sort of that same type of steak, which is good, but it would be nice to have more choices, more options.
And they had a truly Halloween menu a number of years. I think last time it was 2019, where they really had a Halloween meal. Like the whole meal was Halloween, and a special dessert.
At Silver Spur.
At Silver Spur. So I'd like to see a return to that maybe next year.
That would be nice. Like Lucky Nugget had a Halloween menu.
And believe it or not, that is another show. We want to thank our sponsor, MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel.
Yes, thank you to MEI and Mouse Fan Travel for sponsoring us all these years. Check them out. They've been in business just almost 20 years, and they are really fantastic to work with.
They've been on the move too. I've been seeing a lot of
Becky
activity.
was just here. Like
I get tired just watching her travels.
I feel like she's traveling almost every day of the year, and you know she was just here with her group. You know, the travel agents. Just like 20 years ago, I was a travel agent. You know, a Disney authorized vacation planner, and so we'd have this fam trip. And so that's what they were doing, is learning about, they were, you know, on the Disney Cruise Line for the day to have lunch and to tour, and also for checking out stuff at Walt Disney World, because that's important when you're a travel agent, is to have, you know, learning as well.
So this week on the agenda, we'll be going to the Magic Kingdom. At least I'll be there bright and early to kind of see what's new at the Kingdom. We'll be talking about that next week. Also, we'll be talking more about some more dining. We did a number of restaurants at Disneyland Paris, so we'll do another one of the restaurant reviews, and we'll see what else we come up with.
That sounds like a plan.
So thanks again for listening. Have a great week. Happy Halloween, and we'll see you all next week.
And happy Halloween next week, too.
Well, then it's time for Christmas.
It is almost time for Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Not quite, in a couple weeks.